Dependent Origination, the key to success and ruin.
Hello everyone, this content is brought to you by the Australian Buddhist Society of Practice. Today, we want to talk about a very interesting topic in ancient wisdom that happens to unlock a common modern puzzle. That is, why do some people seem to rise so quickly, achieving extraordinary success, only to fall just as dramatically, losing everything in the blink of an eye? Have you ever thought about this question? We all have stories like this in our lives. To find the answer, let's start with a true story, a story of a dramatic rise and a catastrophic fall. The key to success and failure behind this story is actually hidden in a core Buddhist principle called dependent origination. You could say it's a key that can open both the door to achievement and the door to ruin. The term yuanqi might sound a bit esoteric, but it's actually very simple. It means that nothing in the world happens in isolation. It requires various conditions to come together. It's like a seed. The seed is the cause, right? But a seed alone is useless. You need soil, water, and sunlight. These are the conditions. When the conditions are right, the seed can sprout and grow. You see, isn't the same principle true for our own success and failure? So, how does this seemingly philosophical principle play out in real life? Let's look at a living example and see how one person created good conditions and ascended to the pinnacle of his life. This person is Wu Xiaowei. He started as an ordinary laborer. But he possessed some incredible qualities. He was hardworking and willing to learn anything. He'd learn whatever he needed to do on the spot. Most importantly, he never complained about the pay and was never calculating. Just with these few points, he built an absolutely reliable brand for himself. What's interesting is that this model of creating good conditions for success is not new at all. If we recall, didn't the great ancient Tibetan yogi Milarepa have a similar early experience? This shows that this principle transcends time and space. When we compare the two, it becomes very clear. What was the foundation of their success? It was an attitude of what can I do for you? Rather than what can you give me? Milarepa was grateful and acted flawlessly. Wu Xiaowei was unconcerned with rewards and was willing to work and learn. What they did, at their core, was accumulate the best conditions for themselves. So what did these positive conditions bring him? An incredible leap, to say the least. From a street laborer, his reliability got him noticed by the county party secretary, and he later became his son-in-law. Then he became the son-in-law of the municipal party secretary, and eventually, the most trusted general manager for top-tier powerful families. Just like that, he climbed to the peak of power. However, a huge turning point appeared at this point in the story. When a person stands too high, new challenges also arrive. The good conditions that Wu Xiaowei had personally created began to subtly spoil from within. The root of it all was two words: arrogance. Think about it. Years of success, power, and flattery acted like a poison, allowing the negative emotions within him to flourish wildly, especially that arrogance. He began to look down on others, becoming so arrogant that he even dared to treat the newly appointed chairman with disrespect. This mindset was what sowed the seeds of his own destruction. This internal corruption had made him live, entirely in his own world, completely unable to see reality. How crazy was this? It's said that even as the judge read the verdict in court, his expression was still one of haughty pride. So the question is, how can a person's fate reverse so completely? How did the very conditions that made him successful become the force that destroyed everything he had? This brings us to another core concept, which is the mechanism behind this entire decline. In Buddhism, this destructive inner force is called negative emotions or afflictions. You can imagine them as a kind of spiritual poison. They unconsciously contaminate your thoughts and actions, turning the positive conditions you worked so hard to create into negative conditions that lead to your downfall. Of all the negative emotions, three are the chief culprits: greed, hatred, and arrogance. Each one is a bad condition that inevitably leads to failure. Greed makes you perpetually dissatisfied, eventually causing everything to become unbalanced. Hatred, or anger, makes you impulsively destroy all your important relationships and opportunities. For Wu Xiaowei's situation, the most fatal one was arrogance. It makes you blind, completely unable to see what reality is. So here's the most crucial point. The master once used a very vivid metaphor. He said, you have a potted flower, and you're afraid it will die of thirst. This is a form of greedy attachment, right? Then you water it 8 times a day. As a result, you don't save it, you drown it. See? Even if the intention is good, as long as your actions are driven by negative emotions, the result is always a disaster. Well, we've talked about dependent origination and we've talked about negative emotions. What does it all point to in the end? It points to a choice that each of us faces every single day. That choice is whether you follow wisdom or negative emotions. The difference between the two is like night and day. What is wisdom? Wisdom is when you understand the principles of how things work, and you act in accordance with those principles. What are negative emotions? They are when you ignore all principles and just act on impulse. I feel good today, so I'll do this. I don't feel good tomorrow, so I'll do that. One creates success and stability, while the other inevitably brings chaos and ruin. So, in the end, the ability to understand and apply the fundamental principle of dependent origination is the watershed that determines whether a person can achieve sustained success or is destined to collapse. As the master put it so directly, if you can use it, you will be infinitely good. If you can't use it, you will be infinitely doomed. It's that simple. So after hearing this story, what's truly left for us is a question we need to ask ourselves quietly. It's this very moment, what kind of conditions am I creating for my life? Are my daily thoughts, words, and actions cultivating my wisdom or feeding my negative emotions? The answer to this question, in fact, determines our future.